All right, so in this lecture, we're gonna see step-by-step configuration of Extend Report 4. So 4 is the latest version of Extend Report as on today. So what we are going to cover in this, I've actually divided this lecture into two parts. In the first part, I'll be doing step-by-step configuration of this report, adding all the classes and all the configuration that is required for the report we will be doing. And after this, in the next lecture, I'm going to give you some listeners. With the help of those listeners, you should be able to generate the extent reports automatically in any of your automation project, right? So these extent reports will gonna work for your Selenium project, for your Appium mobile automation project, even for the web services API automation in case you're doing using REST assured or any other Java framework. These extent reports will gonna work the same way, right? So let us start with the configuration. Now I'm going to create a new project over here for extend reports. I'll name it as we're going to create a Maven project. Create a simple project. So group ID could be anything, artifact ID, your project name, extend reports 4. Right, and for extend reports, we'll need to download the latest dependencies of extend. Give me a moment. So I'll be navigating to this mvnrepository.com. First, we would be needing testng. So testng 6.14.3, the most stable version as of today. And pom.xml file will be adding this. Let me increase the font size. Then we'll add the extend reports. Simply type extend. You'll see this extend report from here, and you can add the latest version. So copy this and paste it over here. And now let's create a new class. I'll go inside my test package, create a new package over here, name it as test cases, and in this create a class. You can give it any name. Let's say test case 1. And the steps that I'm going to follow right now will gonna remain same for any framework that you're working on, be it Selenium, Appium, or REST assured, right? So same thing will gonna work. There's no change in the implementation of extend report. So there are a couple of classes that I'll be adding. One is extend HTML reporter. It's HTML reporter. Then we have extend reports, name it as extend, and then extend test, right? And we're going to import these three are the most important classes. You can import them all together by doing Control-Shift-O, right? And then in this I'll be adding some of the methods, a method for setting up this report, set report, and this we need to do it at the very beginning. So I'm gonna do it inside before test. So here what I'll do through this HTML reporter, I'll first define the path of this report. So I'll say HTML reporter equal to new extend HTML reporter, and there's a constructor that accepts the path of your current project. Like wherever you want to generate the report, you can generate it inside any folder as well, as in you can simply say dot reports folder, and inside it extend.html. So if you're giving dot, you are pointing to the root directory as in this root directory. Under this there will be a report folder that will be generated, and inside this you'll have the extend.html report generated, right? Now a couple other things that we need to configure, so that will be configuring with this HTML reporter reference. So I'll say this dot config. So config is a method for extend HTML report configuration, and first I'll be setting the encoding to UTF-8. So this is required, and then I'll say HTML reporter dot config dot set document title. So this will give the title to the report. I'll say W2A automation reports, right? You can give any name over here. Then I'll say config dot, this is the report name that I'm gonna set, set report name, and I'll name it as automation test results. And then I'll be defining the theme of this report. So I'll say set theme. Now there are two themes available. One is theme dot a standard theme or a dark theme, right? So standard theme will gonna give like a standard layout, a whitish color to the report, and dark will be like the black color to the report, right? So I'm gonna show it to you how it looks like once the report is generated. So first let's add the standard theme itself over here, and then I'll say extend equal to new extend reports, and then we're gonna add this extend. We're gonna attach the report. We'll say extend dot attach reporter, and in the reporter we're gonna give this HTML reporter, right? So all the configuration we're gonna go to this extend reports, right? So after this we can add some other information to the report if in case we want to add like what is the build number, the organization, who is the automation test engineer. So we can pass on these information to the report by saying extend dot set system info, and this is basically a key and a value pair. So key is like automation tester, and I'll name it as Rahul Arora, right? I'm gonna copy these and add the organization as well. So organization, and organization I'll name it as way to automation. The build number could be any build number like W2A 1234, something like this, right? So these are the configuration that we need to do while we are setting up the report. And same way, once the entire report is generated, at the end it is very much mandatory to flush the report as well. So for doing that, we're gonna do it inside after test. So I'll say end report, and this is @after test, and we'll say extend dot flush, right? So these are the configurations which are required before we start creating our test cases. Now in order to add the test cases, we can do following things. We can pass a test, we can fail a test, or we can skip a test. So for these three areas, for these three test results, we need to actually generate our like whenever we run our test cases, either a test will gonna pass or gonna fail or gonna skip. So based on that, we need to report all the logs inside our extend report, right? So first, what I'm gonna do, I'll really quickly create a couple of tests. So maybe I'll name it as the very first test is a do login test @test, and I need to like with this test reference over here, this is mainly used for test cases, defining test cases. So I'll say test equal to extend dot create test, and here I'll be giving the test name. So I'll name it as login test, like this. And if you want to print something, I'll you can simply say executing login test, right? I'll gonna copy this and create a couple more over here. So after login, I'll say do user registration, and I'll name it as user registration test. And here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fail this test. So I'll simply gonna write assert dot fail and user registration test failed. And this let's skip this test. So I'll name it as is skip test, right? And then we're gonna throw new skip exception, and the message we're gonna add is skipping the test case, and just import this skip exception, right? So these are the three tests that we have created. The first one will gonna pass, the second one will gonna fail, and the third one will gonna skip, right? So how to add these status in the report? For adding that, after every test execution, we need to update the status in the report, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a method which says public void a tear down method, and this should be called after method. So after each test case, this method will be called, and it will gonna check the status. So status of each test, and accordingly we're gonna report the logs inside that particular test case. So status will be like in this, I'm gonna call a class called as I test result. So through this I test result, this is basically inside test-ng. This is an interface. So this interface contain some methods which can get the results of the test case, whether it is pass, whether it is fail. So we can get it with the help of like this I test result interface. We simply need to write over here if this result, we can get the status, get status, and say equal to I test result dot failure. So if this is equal to failure, then it should log the test has failed. Else if this is this should be equal to, let's say, dot skip, and then it should be pass. So for all three conditions, this should be success. For the test case, what log that we're gonna add, let's say for the pass one, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write result dot get method. I'll be getting this get method, will gonna get the name of that method, right, whichever is being passed, and I'm gonna store it inside string method name equal to this. So this is not gonna get stored because get method return type is some itestng method. So what I'll do, I'll get the method name from here, right? So this is how I can get the method name. And then I'm gonna call one of the class called as markup from this extend report, and I'll say markup helper. This is basically a class through which we can do some decoration in our report. We can create a label. So I'll create a label with some text and the color. So color, as in I'll say extend color dot green. So green is for passing the test case, right? And then I'll say test dot pass with the same markup, right? Import this markup, control shift O, right? Now this text, what I'll be defining, I'll be creating a log text over here, log text equal to, and there is some format that I have already tested, which should be inside a bold color, right? I'll be creating a small HTML. So name it as test case and add the test case name. So I'm gonna get the method name and we're gonna change it to the uppercase, right? And then after this I'm gonna add some space and we're gonna write passed, right? And then close this bold tag, right? And provide this log text over here. So this is for the pass test, right? So let's do one thing. For the timing, I'm gonna pass all the test and check whether a report is generated for the pass test or not, right? So let's just run this. Whatever that we have configured so far, we need to make sure that everything works fine. So I'm gonna run it and let's see the results. So we have 3 tests, all 3 are passed. Now let's refresh it. See, a report folder is generated and inside it we have extend.html report. Right, if I open this, see, we have all 3 tests pass. So see, do user registration pass, is skip passed, do login passed, and see, this is what the label that is being generated in the green color, right? Now same thing, we're gonna do it for the skip test as well. So for the skip one, what I'll do, I'll just gonna copy this and paste it over here, and I'll gonna write over here skipped, right, and change this to let's say yellow color, right, or could be a decent color, right? So this is for the skip one, and same thing, let's try it for the past one as well, the failed one as well, and change this to dot skip, right? So first let's run this for skip and see how it looks. And run this, run as test-ng test. 3 execution, 1 skipped, refresh it. See, 1 skipped, 2 pass. Let's go to the skip one and you can see This is how it shows in yellow color. If you want to change the color code, you can easily do that. You can just go over here and change it. Change to a different color, right? Or maybe what we can do, we can try changing the theme color. Maybe let's change it to theme dot dark color, and let's run this. And refresh it now. You can see this is how it looks in the dark color, right? So the yellow color is not very visible, so maybe if you can try to change a different color, maybe something like orange sort of thing, right? So maybe that would gonna look a little more nice over here, right? Now same thing, we're gonna do it for the fail scenario. So for the fail scenario, again copy this and paste it over here. Now instead of copy pasting this, I'll take one code from my project where I have added a couple more HTML details over here, right? Let me copy this and I'll show it to you and paste it over here. Import everything, right? So everything remains same, just that I'm adding some additional logs over here. So whenever there is a failure, I'm getting the throwable instance, the stack trace, and going to add it in another, there would be a link that will be generated. If you click on that, it will get expand, and we're going to show you those detail logs. So this is what this exception message is doing. So if I enable this assert.fail now, sorry, let me import this assert and run it as a test ng test. Now we have 3 tests, 1 failure, 1 skip. If I refresh this report now, see, this is the failed one. You can see this is the view that we're gonna get. So if you click on this, it will expand and show you the detail assertion logs, right? So this is how it should gonna work, right? And now if in case you are working on Selenium or Appium, in this failure over here, you can write another log for, let's say, capturing a screenshot, right? You can capture a screenshot and paste it over here as well, right? So in case you are a part of a Selenium course, like I've already added this thing into my extent lectures in the extent report 3. So same thing, you can use it over here as well. Or maybe what I'll do, because for API testing, in case you are following this lecture in the API testing course, then in API we don't have a UI, so we never capture a screenshot, right? But in case you are following Selenium or Appium lectures, then I'm gonna add a code over here that you can use, and that will gonna help you in capturing screenshots in case of a failure. So that will always gonna generate a unique screenshot for you. So for the listeners, I'm gonna add it from this I'm gonna add it from one of my live project, and the code should look something like this. Yeah, you just need to add this piece of code. So this is where like capturing of screenshot will be done, right? So create a method for capture screenshot, create a screenshot over here, and then pass it to the fail log, and with this media and entity builder class, call the method create screen capture from path and get the screenshot path and paste it over here, right? This is what that you need to do. And whenever there is a failure in your test, it will gonna capture a screenshot and will attach it to a log over here. So after this log, in the next line, you're gonna see screenshot embedded over here, right? So this is how like you can generate extent reports step by step, but we have done everything in like one single class, right? Whenever we are working in a project, in a framework, we should be keeping all these things in different utilities. So in the next lecture, I'm gonna show you some extent listener classes that I have created. So we need not to write this code again and again in each and every class. We can just put it in our listener classes, and we also need not to worry about creating a test each and every time. Whenever we create @test, we create a test method. Every time we need not to worry about writing this line, right? Because if there are, let's say, 500 test cases, we'll be manually adding this test again and again, right? So instead of doing that, we can achieve it through the test engine listeners as well. So that is what we're gonna see it in the next lecture. But this is what the extent report configuration is all about. So I'll be sharing you the code. Just try this code and see if you are able to generate extent report easily with this code. All right, thank you.